I got commissary. I've had people try to steal from me. You got to fight them. If you don't, they will steal from you every day. They'll take everything you own. They'll take your phone they'll take your PIN number for your phone. You won't even be able to get to call your family.
I'm a former Detroit police officer and rode with the 1%er motorcycle club. During that time, I was involved in a lot of altercations. I had a gun shoved in my face. The trigger was pulled, and I got a plate under my left eye. I'm Manny Vitale, and this is my story. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to My Fight or War. I'm your host, Manny Vitale, and we are in our second home again. We are back to Connecticut, and I'm telling you, I still can't stop smiling. And that's because Friday when we got here, I was taken to ESPN Sports Center. Holy shit. And here I am talking on about it. And my next guest is like, hey, I live right by there. It's when you're there and you're used to it, it's like, yeah, it's old news. But a huge shout out to Coach Tony Morrissey, Brian and Cody Brothers and Sisters Foundation, which I'm very proud to be part of as well. We are going to be doing a lot of work with Coach and the Hope Dealers, so please stay tuned to that. But I just wanted to give a huge thank you to Coach for everything that you have done, are doing, and continue to do. So love you, Coach. And to everyone else, thank you for your support. And we're going to jump right into it. Today we got a special guest who is a badass dude. I tell you what, you know who he is because you see him with his show, Chatting with Staxx. So we got the one and only Bill Staxx. How you doing, brother?
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
We have been jumping. Tag, you're it. The first time we were set up, that's when my voice went out.
Yeah.
Got everything rescheduled. All right, we're good to go. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, you thought you lost your voice. I'm going to the hospital with pneumonia.
Yeah.
I mean, that was serious, though. I mean, to the point where they almost had to put you on a vent.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really sick.
You're better now, man.
Yeah, I'm ready to go now.
Oh, well, I definitely appreciate you being here. And I love watching your stuff, man, because it's just, you can, that biker lifestyle and the whole mentality. Me as a former Detroit police officer and as a Detroit highwayman, man, everything that you talk about, it's just like, yep. And you do such a good job with it because a lot of times, man, maybe some people don't want to chit-chat about certain things or don't know how to go about it the right way. And you know how to navigate that. You do it great.
Thank you.
So thanks for coming on, man. So with everything, with your show and all that, I mean, obviously, you didn't just jump right into all this fame and podcasting and all these amazing guests that you got. I mean, when I see your list, it's just like, whew. I mean, and for you to get them to come on, that says a lot about you. So for the people he has on his show, shows you who this man is. So it's an honor to have him on here. But why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, man? Everyone knows who you are, but where you're from and your background.
Yeah, so I was born in Bristol, Connecticut. I haven't always been involved with the podcast world or the media stuff. I was involved with a street gang when I was younger, getting into a lot of trouble. I never thought I would be where I am today. I always thought my life would be prison or drinking every day. I never thought I could change my life and get to where I am now. And when I look back, it's like, wow, I can't believe that I made it to where I am now. It is unbelievable, like the transformation that I've made. And people see it. My family sees it. People around me see it. Because I was really at a point in my life where I didn't have hope anymore. I didn't think that I could change. And I did a complete 180.
So with that change, what was it that would back in the day? Because we all have our, man, if you knew me then compared to what people that know you just now from Chatting with Staxx and your show, they see you from here forward. Yeah. They don't know anything about your past that you're talking about this change. What was that past like? I mean, as far as with a lot of the people we have, there's a lot of drugs, there's a lot of violence, there's a lot, especially when you throw the motorcycle club world in. What was it like for you?
So I was involved in street gangs, a lot of drinking, a lot of drugs, violence, going to prison.
How old
constant.
I'm sorry to interrupt. How old were you when it was first introduced into your life, as far as drinking and drugs?
About 12.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That young, huh? What was it that you first started with?
Drinking.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
Then what did it go
The
into?
first sip I ever took, I was 10 years old, and it just made me feel different.
Really?
And I loved it. Every chance I got, I would drink and try to escape my reality. I had an abusive stepfather. So, growing up, you want to forget about all that. So right when I found alcohol and drugs, first it was the alcohol, and then it turned into drugs, smoking weed every day and skipping school. And then I got in trouble when I was 13, and the prison sentences started. Going
How
to
young?
a youth block, 13 years old, I
Wow.
started.
What happened at that age with?
I lit a dumpster on fire when I was really young. That's before 13. And then hanging around the wrong people. I got caught in a stolen car, and they sent me to Hartford Correctional Center in a youth block. And that was my first introduction to jail.
This was how old?
13.
13 years old in a stolen car.
Yeah.
Setting up. Man, you had that wildfire going in you early.
Yeah.
Shit. So the dumpster fire in a stolen car, and then you go to the youth home.
Youth prison. Youth
I'm
jail.
sorry, youth prison. Tell us about that.
You wear a white jumpsuit, you walk in there. I'm a white kid, and everyone else in there is black and Puerto Rican. I'm just like, damn, man. But it's kind of like a rite of passage. I will always expected I would go to prison, and I wasn't like really scared. There were moments where I was a little fearful, but I wasn't really scared to go there. I knew that this was part of the process to get to the next level in my gang days.
Even at that young age,
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. At 10, 11, 12 years old, getting hit, going to youth prison. Yeah, okay. I expected this. Shit, what was it like to, be in that environment? What were you faced with on a day-to-day basis?
So I walk in and I see a white kid doing push-ups with a black kid with his foot on his back. And I'm like, what? What the hell? And this is like my first time I'm walking in there. And they push you in this, it's like a bubble. They have plexiglass with steel. And there's like 2 sets of that. And you're behind that. And so you can't get to the guard. The guards aren't coming in there to help you. And they just push you in there. Your cell's over there, and this is where you live now. And they push you in, and everybody looks at you. And, I mean, you got to put a face on. I was terrified when I first stepped into that pod.
But no, your face, you didn't show it.
No,
you can't.
You can't. You can't show emotion. I was a little nervous, though, because I'm from Bristol, and these kids are from Hartford, Bridgeport. They're from the bigger cities. So they don't have like a place for Bristol kids. And there's not a lot of white kids in there, you know.
How long was it from the minute that all started before you had that first, bull in the ring, man, who you kid?
First day.
First
day?
day? How'd that go? Or how did it come about?
It didn't go well for me. I mean, I got beat up, but I fought back. Like other kids in there wouldn't fight back, and they got abused every second of the day. They knew I would fight, so they really didn't mess with me after that. And I remember sitting in the cell, and I wanted to be free. I didn't want to be in there. I wanted to be out running the streets. Mm-hmm. And I remember this tier man came. He was an older man. He was probably in his 60s, 50s, 60s. And he comes walking up. He's mopping the floor. And he comes to my cell. And he's like asking me what I'm in there for. And he's like, you don't want this to be your life. He's trying to like explain to me the reality of it. He's like, you don't want this to be your life. This is, you like this? And I'm thinking no, but I can't show it. I got to be a hard ass, you know. But deep inside, I didn't want to do this type of stuff, but I felt like this was all I knew. Running the streets, stealing cars. I thrived off the adrenaline rush, and I considered the gang my family. They were the ones that looked out for me. They were the ones that were there when I needed them. My real family wanted to be there, but I didn't want any part of them. I would run away every chance I got. They kept me in that jail for about a month, 2 months, sent me to court, and my mother, she convinced the judge to let me go to my grandmother's up in New Hampshire. So the judge agreed, and right from that jail, they let me out into my mom's custody. She drove me right up to New Hampshire. I did not want to go. I wanted to go back to my gang. And I stayed with my I mean, it was a good time. Looking back now, I'm glad I went because we had a lot of good times up there. But they would make me stack the firewood. They'd make me put it on a sled and bring it into the house. And she had a mustard company where she would make homemade mustard. And I would help her package the mustard.
So they laid down the law as far as responsibilities.
Yeah.
You know, your family, we love you, but, you know, to instill that in you.
Yeah. But I was still like going to the store and stealing. And they'd call my grandmother. And so I was still kind of being disrespectful. Finally, after about a month, 2 months, she's like, I'm bringing you back. And I'm like, yes. So she drove me back, and I went right back to it. Right back to stealing cars. We would go to the mall parking lot, and we'd scope out cars. We used to neck them back in the day, tilt steering. Mm-hmm. We would pull the springs out, start the car, and we'd go to the gas station. They used to be able to pump first and then pay after. Mm-hmm. We'd fill the car up and go in like we're looking for change and hit the gas and take off. We'd go to a pizza restaurant, eat pizza, and jump in the car and leave. We would do that a lot, and a lot of reckless behavior, you know. And then there was other car accidents I've been in and stolen cars and some pretty bad ones. But there was this one time I was driving in East Hartford, and a cop got in back of us. I'm with this guy. He's about 26 years old, and I'm young. I'm like 14. And I take off from the cops. They got the lights on. I'm running. I jump on the highway. We're driving down this back road. He's like, let me drive the car. So we switch seats. He's driving. I'm messing with the radio. All of a sudden, he slams the brakes. I look up, and it kicks us into the oncoming traffic, and we smash into a GTI Golf head on and knocked us out. I didn't have my seatbelt on. I had cuts all over my forehead, blood, and I come to, and I'm waking my friend up, and he has a big knot in his forehead. I'm like, come on, we got to get out of here. Now, crowd's starting to form outside the car. I grab the screwdriver, and the music's still playing in the car. I get out, there's snow on the ground, and we just start running. And the people are like, hey, they're over there, they're running. So we're taking off. I could hear the sirens coming. We run through a field covered with snow. There's nowhere to hide. There's a tree line.
There's a blood trail.
Yeah. It wasn't that bad. Yes. Yeah. I had a cut on my finger and I had some cuts on my head. And we come to a tree line and there's like woods, but it's the wintertime. You can see right through there. We cross a river, we're running. We come out to the road and there's a house. And my friend's like, I'm going to smash the window and take the keys. And I'm like, no, don't do that. It's going to make it worse for us. So we're knocking on the door and no one comes to the door. We go to the next door neighbor's house and he's sitting working on a truck. And I go, excuse me, sir, can I use your phone? I was going to call my other friends and have them come get me. He looks at me and I got blood all over me. I go, I got bit by a dog. You know he didn't believe me. And he's looking at me weird. And I'm like, can I use your phone? And he's just staring past me. And I turn like that and there's a cop with a gun to my head. He's like, don't move. Put your hands on the car.
Didn't even hear him come up.
I'm like, damn. Put my hands on the car. They arrest me. Back to jail. And it was a constant cycle. You know, I did a couple months for that one. Get out. Right back to it. Another one, I got arrested for a home invasion. I bought a sawed-off shotgun from someone. I get a call from this friend, and
Accomplice.
yeah, co-defendant. So I go to his house. This is the night before Thanksgiving, 1990, I think it's 6. And he goes, hey, I got this kid that's down the road and he owes me money for some weed. And he might have some weed. Let's go get it. I said, all right. He said, let me hold the gun. And I got bullets on me. It's a 10 gauge sawed off. I'm like, listen, if I give you the gun and we get caught, you're taking responsibility. Yeah, I will, you know. Yeah, yep, I'll take responsibility. So I give him the gun and we walk over to his house. Now it's like a projects, apartment buildings. He knocks on the door. The mom opens the door. She sees the gun. She starts screaming. She goes to close the door. He tries to push it open. We're like fighting with the door, trying to get it open. The door slams, and I could hear her screaming. We're banging on the door, trying to get it open. And we're like, come on, let's get out of here. So we go to the door to get out of the apartment building, open it up, and there's cops outside with their guns over the hood. They're like, don't move.
And he's got the gun.
He's got the gun sticking out of his pocket. We got camouflage suits on. And I'm like, screw that. And I run. He runs too. We run around the building. It's like a dream, slow motion. I'm looking back at me and the cops like raiding back at me. And I'm running. I'm young though, so I can run. And I run across the street to another apartment building. He lives like probably 5 buildings over. We open the door, we go down into the basement. I fall on my ass all the way down. Boom, 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 boom. I get into the basement. He throws the gun behind the door. And I run to the couch and I'm stuffing shotgun shells in the couch. And the door goes flying. Boom! The door goes flying open and they're like, don't move. And I put my hands up and shotgun shells are falling out of my hands. And they come up, handcuff me, and they bring me to jail. And they charge me with home invasion, burglary second. Now, this is before the Pettit thing happened in Connecticut. Once that happened, the laws changed. Home invasion is a very bad charge to get now. But back then, I mean, it was still bad, but it wasn't as bad. So they charged me burglary second. They gave me all these charges, possession of a sawed-off shotgun with the serial numbers filed off, the stock, the barrel, all kinds of charges. They gave me a $10,000 bond. Nowadays, you'd have $1 million bond. But I was young. I was 16. And my mom worked at UConn at the time. She had a really good job. And the kid tells on me. He says it was his gun. And I'm like, I'm not saying it was his, but it wasn't mine. So I'm denying it. So they charged both of us. He's trying to put it on me, and I'm not taking responsibility because we already made a deal. But he's not accepting it. He's telling. And I go right back to the same place I just left. And this time, you start to get used to it. Hey, what's up? I'm back. Everyone remembers you. They make you go to school. And I'm thinking, I'm screwed. I'm going to be here until my trial starts or unless I plead out to it. All of a sudden, about a month and a half later, pack your stuff. Got bonded out. My mother bonded me out.
Wow. You didn't know? She didn't get a hold of you to tell you?
Didn't tell me, no. Just pack your stuff. You're getting out. Now I'm thinking, I don't want to go to prison. So I'm going to find a way to not go. So I get out that very night. I go out with a screwdriver and I steal a car. I drive it up to, there's a place called Nestle. It's where it's like a factory. There's a Nestle factory in Bristol. So I drive the car down this trail and I have a tube and I'm going to put the tube into the exhaust into the car. I was really going to unalive myself because I didn't want to go back to prison. And so I'm drinking a 40 and I drive down the trail. I put the tube in the exhaust, put it into the window, and I'm just sitting there and I'm listening to music and all of a sudden the car shuts off. I ran out of gas. So I get out and I walk home. I'm like, damn. Like, I didn't want to go back to prison. But I'm still out doing crazy things. I go out another night with the same people, and I got a car key from this girl, and she says, you could go steal this car. And I think I gave her some weed, and she gave me the car key. And it was a turbo car, like 2 doors, and like a sports car. Mm-hmm. So we drive up to the neighborhood. I get out. My friend gets out. We run up to the car. I unlock the door. I get in. And I notice it has the club on it. And I'm yanking on the club hard. And my friend's pulling on it. And the steering wheel folds in half. Boom, the club pops off. But alarm goes off. Starts going off. I'm trying to get the key into the ignition. The guy comes out of the house. I'm like, oh, man. So I lock the door, and he runs to the car. He's banging on the window. Doom, doom, doom. And I'm like, oh, shit, I got to get out of here. So he runs around from each side. He goes to the passenger side. He's trying to open the door. He has a key, and I have a key, but I keep locking the door. He's unlocking, I'm locking it, and he's running back and forth. He's on that side of the car, and I just open it and start running. He starts chasing me. My friend opens the door. He starts running. My friend's a lot faster than me. He passes right by me. He jumps into the car. And I'm running. And they got the car door open. They're like, come on. And I'm running. I looking back, and the guy, it's like another dream, slow motion. The guy's trying to get me. And I dive into the back seat. And he rushes in, and he's trying to grab me. He grabs my foot. And I'm kicking at him. And I'm like, go to my friends. And they take off. And I look in the rearview mirror, and the guy's standing in the middle of the road with my boot. And we get away. Throw the boot out the window, and we take off. Now, a little bit of time goes by. And somebody told the president of this gang that I was sleeping with his girlfriend. And it wasn't true. Never happened. But he thought it was true. So they devised this plan that they're going to lure me into a car and they're going to bring me somewhere and do something to me. So they call me up and they say, yo, we're going to go meet these girls at the park. Come on. I'm like, all right. So I come out to the car. I don't know what's going on. I have no clue. And there's like 7 of them. I jam into the back seat with them. We're all just listening to music. We're smoking weed and pull up to a park. And we all get out of the car. We start walking up this trail. And all of a sudden, he turns around and hits me in the face. And I put my hands up, and I start fighting. I'm trying to fight, and they all just rush me, start kicking me, punching me, stomping me on the ground. And I don't know what the hell is going on. I have no clue what's going on. And it seemed like forever they were beating me, kicking me in the face. One guy lifted my leg, trying to break my leg. And I remember they threw the shoe in my face, and then they walked away. And I picked myself up all bloody, and I just walked home. And when the door was locked at my house, and I knocked on the door, and my mom came to the door, and she's like, oh my God. She like almost didn't recognize me. I was so beat up. And I just went home and nursed myself, you know? I didn't go to the police or nothing. But this was like my whole life. So I don't know what's going on. And they call me a couple days later. Matter of fact, the girl calls me that they said that I was with. And she says, they want to meet you. They want to have a meeting with you. And I'm like, hell no, you crazy? And I have all the guns. I was holding on to all the guns. So she ends up pulling up to my house, and I got the gun pointed out the window. I'm thinking this is going to end bad. And I got to go back to court for the
previous stuff,
the home invasion. And I'm like, fine, I'll go, right? So I go to this meeting, and they're like, we know we messed up. Someone lied on you, and we thought it was true, but we know it's not. So we want to try to make it right. So back in the day, they would have a thing called bounces. If you did something wrong, you would put your hands up, and they would punch on your ribs and your back. And you would, if you put your hands down, it would start all over. The time would start over. And they let me pick who would bounce each person that was involved. And I did that. And then they're like, all right, we good? And I didn't feel right anymore. And I was like, no. I said, I don't want to be involved no more. And they let me walk away. And I walked away, and then I had to go turn myself into court. And I ended up getting 18 months for the gun and the home invasion. They gave me 6 months for a stolen car. And I'm thinking I'm going to go to jail, try to get my life together. That's not what happened. So I go, they bring me to back to Hartford. I know everybody there. It's not a problem. Then they go, you're going to MYI. You're going to Little Chester. And I'm like, damn. I keep hearing stories about Little Chester, Gladiator School. They hold you there until you're 21, I think. And so I go, and there's cottages there. They bring me to the cottage. The cop escorts you and a whole bunch of other people that are going in. You have like your sheet and, your extra shirts and things like that. They walk me in, and he goes, oh, your cell's over there. So I go in, and I could hear people yelling, right? And they're like, we're going to kill the white boy in 6L.
Is that you?
I'm like, I'm the white boy in 6L. I'm like, damn, man.
And you just walked in.
Just walked in.
What a welcoming.
Yeah, and so this is late at night. You get in there, so all night long, they're talking through the vents, talking shit. I don't know what to expect in the morning. They're banging on the doors. They're like, we're going to kill you. I got a spork. I got nothing to defend myself with. Like, I don't know if they have weapons. I don't know. Like, they give you a little pencil like this big. And I can't do nothing with none of that. I'm trying to sharpen it on the cement.
Hey, do what you do.
Yeah, right? But I'm thinking, when this door, and this kid that's in the cell with me is a black kid. I'm like, yo, you got my back? He's like, nope.
Well, he flat out told you no.
Hey, he can't.
Yeah, no, obviously.
So now I'm not involved with the gang. Gangs are a big thing in jail, prison. And I walk out in the morning. I'm expecting something to happen. Nothing happens. I walk up. I get my tray. I sit down. Nothing happens. I go back to my cell. They're still running their mouth in the vent, but nothing happened. The next time we eat is dinner time or lunchtime. We get out. I got my tray, and I don't know where to sit. Like they have tables for certain cities, and they don't have one for my city. So I walk up and I just sit down at a table. And this kid comes up to me and he's like, "Get up." And I'm like, "No." I turn my back on him.
Oh.
I'm like, "No." And he just hit me with the tray and we start fighting. And now you're separated again by plexiglass, another plexiglass, and then the guards over there. So it takes them forever to get in there.
They're not in a rush anyways.
No, they usually mace you, handcuff you, go to SAG. But there was quite a bit of fights in there in Little Chester. Like so many. I mean, I could talk about fights all day long. A lot of them I lost, you know. I didn't win them all. But I fought every time.
That's the key.
If you don't fight back,
you're done.
They will abuse you every chance they get. I've seen it happen. I've seen them take people's stuff. I got commissary. I've had people try to steal from me. You got to fight them. If you don't, they will steal from you every day. They'll take everything you own. They'll take your phone they'll take your PIN number for your phone. You won't even be able to get to call your family. I had someone try to steal my mail. I had to fight them. Another time I was sleeping in the cell and I didn't know everything. I was learning the ropes as I went, you know. So I had my face towards the wall. And they popped the cell and someone ran in the cell and started hitting me in the back. I pop up. He's trying to turn around and get out of there, and I grab the snake boot and hit him. He falls into the tier, and the guards come rushing in. What happened? I'm like, nothing. It was a lot of different altercations, and my mother was in touch with the jail, with NYI. She would call the counselors and things like that. And she goes, every single time, every day he's pretty much fighting. Is there any way we could try to get this to stop? And she goes, they figured out a plan to give me a job. And they gave me a laundry job. So I started working in the laundry room, pressing name tags onto the little jumpsuits. And I worked there for the whole time until I got transferred. I found it to be a lot better, you know. It was a worker dorm. People didn't want to get in trouble in there.
Yeah, because then you'd lose that privilege.
I mean, there were still fights and there were still different things. I finally get a TV. And then I got into a fight with my cellie because he kept changing the channel on me over the TV. It's my TV. Don't touch my TV. I change the channel. I go back on the bunk. He'd get up, change it. And I'm like, stop touching my TV. And he goes to look out the door, and I just jumped on his back, started choking him. He'd pass out, and he'd start struggling. I say, you gonna stop? And he wouldn't stop. So I kept choking him, making him pass out. And this is going on for a long time. And finally it comes to the point where I'm getting transferred. Now, there's a lot of gangs in there, and I had a lot of problems on the street with rival gangs, and they're all in there. So I'm thinking they're gonna get me eventually.
Yeah, because you got no alliance now.
None. I'm by myself. And the kid that I got caught with, he joined the gang in jail. So it's like things are changing. So my birthday's coming up, so they transfer me to adult prison. And burglary second is a level 4 offense in Connecticut, so they send me to a pretty high maximum security prison. Level 4 is one of the highest. It only goes to 5. 5 is like death row, and they took death row away in Connecticut, but the highest is people that, murder people and things like that. So they put me with a lot of crazy, crazy people. while I'm in Little Cheshire, I was talking to someone through the door, and I said, I thought me and you were right here. And the guards saw me do that, and they affiliated me with a gang. So they bring me, back in the day, Newtown, Gardner was a gang jail. It was a gang blocks. Now it's like a mental health jail. But back then it was for gangs. They would have different levels, and you would have to go through this program to get out of the gang. Only in the state's eyes. Like, you could tell them, I'm not involved, and, you
Tell them
could
what they want to hear.
bullshit your way through the program. So they bring me to that prison. I come walking in. Now, this is a big change. I go from little kid jail to this is adult prison. And I'm skinny. I'm 140 pounds. I'm 5'4". And I have a lot of stuff. I have a TV. I have commissary. I have stuff. I come pushing in my car. I'm putting my stuff away, and I'm looking around. People are all looking at you. Always when you're the new person out there, they're looking. And Christmas time is right there, right? And they have a thing called Christmas packages that you can get. So my family orders me all of them. They're like these boxes with like meats and cheeses. They ordered me 7 of them. That was a bad idea.
Because everybody sees.
They see what you're getting.
Oh.
I had to get a cart to push them to my cell. And people are looking. So I'm taking the Christmas package, I'm putting them away. And I got 7 of them. And they're like $100 a piece. And this big dude, his name's Pookie. Shout out to Pookie.
Hey, Pookie.
Pookie comes walking up, and he's mean looking, really mean looking. And he goes, I want a bag of commissary at my cell by this time. And I'm looking at him like, I'd say, no, I'm not doing it. He just goes like this and turns around and walks away. I'm like, fuck. So I put away my stuff. I'm sitting in the cell. Click, the door pops open. The guard's like, Bill, you gotta go see the lieutenant. I look up there, and Pookie's up there. Like, so when you go up the stairs, there's a door. You got to walk into the door, and you're locked in. And Pookie's up there waiting for me. So I walk up the stairs, and I open the door, and he's just staring at me like mean looking. And I walk in, and the door locks, and we're locked in this room together. And he's like grilling me, right? And the other door pops, and he goes. And I'm like, I don't know where we're going. I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking this dude set something up. They're going to kill me or something. So we start walking down the hallway. He's ahead of me, and I'm a little bit in back of him. And he goes to the office, and I'm following him. And he goes, the lieutenant's in there, and he's like, we're hiring you both for the kitchen. And I'm like, oh, I got to work with this guy. And he was just threatening me. So I'm like, damn. So now I got to work with Pookie. And because I stood up to him, told him no, he respected it. So we start working in the scullery where people put their trays in, and we'd have to wash the trays and put them in this machine. And we're working next to each other. And we start developing a friendship. And we become really cool. And things are going good, And he's involved with the gang I used to be involved in. But I don't explain to anybody, hey, this is this and this. I don't say anything. I'm not going and promoting that. Mm-hmm. So I start getting comfortable in there, right? I work my way up all the way to the line where you're putting the food on the trays. You have to work your way up to that point. You don't just start over there putting food on trays. You start at the lowest job, which is the scullery, and then you have to work your way up. But one time in the scullery, people started throwing their trays a little aggressive through the slot, and me and Pookie started throwing them aggressively back through the slot. So there's like a tray fight going on, and it started getting a little out of control. Like, they were whipping them through there. Like, they would take your head off if they caught you with one of them trays. They were like, skipping them through the slot. And we just started winging them back, and it's a big melee. The cops lock everybody down, and then things cool down for a little bit. Now, different things are happening in the block, but it's kind of like a more calm place because these people have a lot of time in prison. The average time was about 65 years.
Nobody wants to make it worse.
But there are a lot of gangs, so they're like more like high level things are going on, drugs and different things, and passing messages from block to block because these are all high ranking gang members that are locked in this program. And once you graduate the program, you go into general population. That's the pod they had me in. So they had like a universal weight set in there. And it was just cells on the bottom, stairs with cells on the top, and a round bubble. And the cop sits there. Sometimes they'd have two cops. So I start getting comfortable, I'm thinking, I'm good. I'm working, giving food now. I worked my way up. I'm in there for a bunch of months, and me and Pookie are really tight, right? And one day, I'm in the cell block, and I'm walking down the tier, and I look over, and I see a guy with another guy. And I'm like, what the? And I go to Pookie while we're working, and I'm like, man, I saw this going on, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? He said, what, you don't think it could happen to you? I said, that'll never happen to me. They'll have to do it to my dead body. All of a sudden, Pookie like snapped his fingers. These dudes pop out and grab me. They grab my arms, they grab my legs, and I can't move. And I'm struggling, and I can't move. And then Pookie walks up to me, and he's right in my face, and he's like, you still think it can't happen?
Whoa.
And I go, yeah, it could happen, it could happen. And they all let me go, and he's like trying to teach me a lesson. Like, don't fuck around, you can find out.
You get too comfortable.
Yeah, I started to get a little too comfortable
in an environment that's constantly changing.
Yeah. So that kind of like put me back in my place. Like,
man, I tell you, you ain't kidding. Shout out to Pookie.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
I know. He could have had me, it could have been bad.
So so you're in there with all this shit because of the gun charge and all that. How long did you end up spending in there?
18 months.
18 months.
Yeah.
So you got all this going on. Like I said, you're building these little alliances with you and Pookie and all that stuff. So at least you had somebody. And, plus doing your own thing. I mean, you're not stupid. You're learning the game. You're playing it well. So 18 months. So then that day comes.
Well, I got a couple more that are pretty wild.
Oh, come on, let's go.
So one day I'm sleeping and I hear screaming. And I jump off my bunk and I look out the door and I see they're pulling a dead body out of the cell with a sheet tied around his neck.
Oh.
And I'm like, what the hell? And the guards are running, and I could see him trying to cut the sheet off his neck, but the guy's dead already. And they handcuff another guy, and they pull him out. He had dreads all the way to his ass. The night before, he shaved his head off, shaved all the dreads. And he must have had mental health problems or something. This was a big white dude, and the guy he killed was a black dude. So they tape off the cell with evidence tape. And detectives come into the prison and they interview each person to see if they heard anything, if they seen anything. Everyone says, no, I didn't see nothing, I didn't hear nothing. That's just rules of the game, right? So we're all like wondering what happened, and we finally find out the guy was eating, the white guy was eating food, and the black dude farted while he was eating. And he strangled him with the sheet and killed him over it.
Oh, wow.
And the black dude was just about to be released. He had a couple months left. And the white dude had like 65 years, so he wasn't.
He had nothing.
No.
That's the thing, man. You know, as an inmate there too, man, if you don't know the game, one, man, shit in your pants just cost you your life.
Yeah.
That's
you can't do certain, like I shouldn't have been looking in people's cells. Should have kept my eyes straight.
You know what? Stuff that, it's a whole nother world. A whole another set of rules.
Yeah, it's like a microcosm of the world.
You know, that's what a lot of people don't understand that are never been involved with gangs, motorcycle clubs, jail, drugs, and all that. They look at this and show, and they're like, "Oh, come on!" It sounds so far. It's true. That's why My Fight Our War exists. For one, it's to help people that have been down and out this road with drugs, with mental health issues. You know, we're not sensationalizing this and saying how great it is. You know, when we tell these stories, a lot of times there is a lot of laughing and shit going on. Because I tell you what, in my crazy ass days of addiction and fighting and all that stuff, I had a lot of fun. Until it wasn't fun, until I would get my ass kicked. It's just like you. Because I'm not the biggest guy in the world, man. And you, like you said, especially in the motorcycle world, man, you get a reputation two ways: by talking shit and skating on it until you got to back it up, or by showing up. And that was just it too, man. It's like if you got that reputation, well, you know, you may not win every fight, but you know you're going to be scrapping with somebody that you're going to get fought back. So it's a whole nother world in education, man. It's just insane, you know, because like you, though, this is so weird because at 10, 11 years old, you knew, yeah, I'll be going to youth prison. You could see it already.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, you know, for a lot, like for me, I never saw it coming. You know, when I was growing up, I was playing baseball and with my uncle, and I'm going to play hockey and all this shit. And then it went, you know, everything went south. You know, all this experience, and I keep forgetting how young you are.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still, what, 20 when you're in?
At this time, I'm only 17.
So this is when you get transferred for the gun charge.
I just turned 18.
Okay, that's when you're seeing all this stuff with Pookie,
Yeah.
and then 17.
Yeah.
And all of these things have happened to you already. Man, there's people that are 17 who haven't even had a traffic ticket.
Yeah.
And you're on God knows what case you're on at this point. So now, after 18 months, what happens?
The last day, well, one more story before we get to that.
Man,
so
sure, let's go.
There's a kid, he got out of SEG. He got a tattoo. He went to SEG for it. He gets out. Now, we used to have to walk in a single file line to go eat. And we'd have to be quiet, and you'd keep your head down, and you just walk in a single file line, and they would bring you to the chow hall, and then you'd walk back to your block. So in front of me is this kid. He just got a tattoo. It says Thug on his arm. The cops would harass you. They'd mess with you a lot, right? So the cop is walking on the side of him, and he's like, "Oh, you think you're a thug? I see you got your tattoo. You think you're a thug, huh?" And the kid just grabbed the cop and bit a chunk out of his face. And you could see the cop's teeth through his cheek. He spit the chunk out. There's blood everywhere. And the cop's screaming, laying on the ground. And he hits a code. Once they pull this little tag off this metal box they have, the cops come rushing in. And I'm just like, wow. Like the cops screaming in pain. The cops rush in. We're all up against the wall. They're struggling to get this guy in handcuffs. And it's like a lot of situations like that would happen. People getting baby oil thrown on their face, and their skin just comes right off. And it'd be for the stupidest thing. It could be over, I wanted to use the weights on this time and you cut my line, or you were on the phone when I didn't want you to be. Stupid things like that would get you into a bad situation.
Things that if you told a whatever normal person, that it'd be like, oh, come on, man. And these are things that when you're in prison and you're, this is the way of the wild, man.
Yeah, it's like a dog eat dog world in there.
You ain't with the big dog, stay on the porch.
Yeah.
And live and learn, or else if you don't learn, you ain't gonna be living.
I would try to stay out of the way of a lot of things. I wouldn't get involved. You don't run your mouth about things. Don't talk about people. There's a lot of things I learned, and I was just put in a book called Prison Politics 101 that explains all these rules. If you're on your way to prison, it's a great book to read, and I'm in the book. So
that's like your manual. Okay,
Yeah.
for all you people about to take that jump into the correctional, not as a CEO,
As an inmate.
As an inmate, good read. And
Yeah.
the thing is, though, it could save your life. It will save your life.
It will. So finally, time comes, right? I don't know I'm getting out. I have no clue. The night before, my cellie has a joint, and he's like, want to smoke a joint with me? And I'm like, nah, something's telling me not to. I'm like, nah, I'm good. The next morning, they come and knock on my door and say, hey, you got a urine. If you pass this test, you're getting out today. So I peed in the cup, passed the test. They said, you're good. You get out, you get parole. It was called TS back then, Transitional Supervision. And I went right from the jail, right to Scoville Street in Waterbury, met my parole officer, had to do 6 months on parole. And it was that was a trip, trying to stay out of trouble on parole.
Shit, so that night, all you had to do was, just a hit. And you would have been done.
Done. They wouldn't have let me out.
For how long?
6 more months.
6 more months. So that just saved your ass. But so now, I mean, when they knocked on that door and they said, pee in here, did you know why? Because I know a lot of it's just random anyways, just to check.
No, they bring you down to this office and they give you a urine and say piss in the cup. I'm thinking it's just a random urine
test. So then, I mean, how did it go? Okay,
After
so
I pee in the cup, I give it to them and they go.
Then you passed.
I passed and they go, you're getting out today.
Did you? I mean, you had to be like.
I'm like, what? They go, you're getting out today. I'm like, oh, shit. They were like, go pack all your stuff. Now, I didn't tell anyone. I might get out this time. I got this much time. That's another thing. Don't tell people how much time you got. Even if you have to lie a little bit, don't tell people when you're getting out how much time you got. None of that's a good thing.
Yeah, when you come running back, not running. When you come back, you're not coming down the tier like, yeah, I'm out of here and all that, because you won't get jacked.
I'm like, I give all my stuff to certain people. Here, Pookie, here. I give them to the people that looked out for me. And
so the people who, when it comes to that, they're like, oh.
Yeah, they know. They know once you come in and you got these bags, they know either you're getting transferred or you're getting out.
So here you get your stuff packed. You're heading out now. You're getting escorted down. What the hell's going through your mind?
I'm like, I'm going to try to start a whole new life, but that's not what happened, I'm like, I'm going to do good. I'm going to stay out of trouble. No.
What happened?
I start getting out. I get out and I started working at this strip club, driving the strippers to the club. And I'm in the car and my friend's smoking a blunt. And the wind's going by my head. I could smell it. But I'm on parole. I got a bracelet on. And I go to take a urine at parole and it came up dirty. And I'm like, I didn't smoke. And he goes, well, I'm going to violate you. So if you don't write down on this paper that you smoked, then you're going back to jail today. And so what do you do? I signed the paper, and then I went to the hospital and got a blood test, and it came up negative. And I bring it back to him. He's like, I don't care. So that was a strike against me. And then he's like, now you got to stay in the house. You can't leave. They put restrictions on you. So eventually I get off and I'm scot-free, right? I start catching. I get a job framing houses. I'm doing good. I'm making good money. I buy a car, catch a DUI. Time goes by, another month, I get another DUI. And then I start getting arrested left and right for different things, you know. I'm at a bar, I get into a fight, assault charge, this and that. And this behavior continued to happen until 2009. I was in and out of prison a lot, like a lot. I don't even know the number.
Jeez.
I've been arrested 26 times and for all kinds of things, you know. But finally, it comes to a point in your life. I was at a point in my life where I didn't want to be around anymore. I was tired of life. I had no ambition to do anything. And, you know, I was just, it was like I was trying to off myself, basically, with alcohol. I'd overdose on drugs. I'd be in the hospital. I'd get out. I'd go do the same thing. And it was like a cycle. I'd be in different rehabs. I'd violate probation. My life was a total mess. Finally, I'm at my bottom and I'm still using drugs. I'm drinking. And this is about 6-7 years ago. I overdose, right, on heroin. And I go to a program. I go to detox. Well, I go to the hospital. I get out. I'm still using a little bit. And I'm like, I got to do something about this. I need to quit drinking and I need to quit drugs. Drinking was my major problem because it led me to everything else.
The gateway.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's poison. So I'm like, I'm gonna try this time and apply myself. And it took me a long time to get to this point. And I go to detox. I went to a 7-day detox, and I was like, I'm not gonna use drugs anymore. I'm not gonna use alcohol no more. And ever since I went to this program, I've been clean.
No shit. How long's that been now?
6 years.
No shit.
You know,
Congratulations.
Going on 7 years, yeah.
That is awesome.
November.
And this all from you went to the 7-day detox. Now to maintain that, have you been doing?
Well, I go to meetings I go here and there. I don't go as much as I should. I probably should start going more. But I started going to church. I stayed sober for about 2 years before I started getting into the media and doing the podcast stuff. Because I was like, I need to find something that really takes up my time, that's positive, that I could take my broken past and use it as in a positive manner, you know? So I was like, I'm going to start a podcast. And this was in 2021. I started chatting with Staxx. I started with 1 subscriber. I'm at 15,000 now. And my whole life has changed. I feel different about things. I go to church. I'm like respected by my family again. They don't remember me for all the stuff I used to do. They know me for who I am now. And I carry myself a certain way now, you know?
No, what's insane is, you know, with our past, are similar in some ways and totally different in others. I definitely not done the jail time. It was like you. But as far as the violence and the club life and stuff like that, and looking at our past, because of that terrible shit that we did, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be where we are right this second. You wouldn't be, I wouldn't, my Fight Our War chatting with Staxx. And the only reason it exists is because of the terrible shit we did.
Yeah.
Because I was on a show one time and I'm going back and forth with this host. And so he was talking about addiction, this, and man, just like piece of shit, evil, blah, blah. And I go, well, yeah. I go, man, but I got, thank God, I'm so thankful for addiction and what it did to me. And he's like, what are you talking about? I go, if it wasn't for addiction, would we be here? And I go, I'm not saying, I'm all for smoking and doing drugs and all that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's the stuff that brings us together. Whoever thought something is evil is like poison, like you just nailed it with, would result in such a positive outcome. I mean, because shit, you go to social media, man, chatting with Staxx, boom, it's there. You're known worldwide. Your stories, I mean, a book. You got, besides just besides your podcast, your book. I mean, tell everyone out. I mean, whatever you want to tell. I mean, of course, you've got a lot of stuff going on that we'll discuss whenever you want. But you've got a lot of things in the fire, man, that you're doing positively.
Yeah.
Whatever you can talk about, let people know, man, that what you're doing or what.
I wrote a TV series called Uber Mafia. It's a comedy about these 3 mob guys that start driving for Uber, and it's hilarious. They try to get away from the FBI. They try to find different ways, and it's just a funny series. There's about 15 episodes I wrote. It's done, and I'm trying to get funding for it. I'm working on getting different people in place. I'm going to have you involved in it.
I was just going to say, man, we talked about this actually a while ago when I saw it out there.
Yeah.
And just by following you and just your whole attitude and, I was like, just attracted right to the way that you run your show and just the authenticity about it. It's real. And then when I saw that about your show, I was like, man, that'd be cool. Because I know we were reaching out back and forth to do each other's shows. And I said, don't forget about me when you're casting this stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I've got you. And we've just been so busy with all our other stuff. And then today we were talking about the cell upstairs and the filming. And I'm like, Bill, man, you need anything, I'm in.
Yeah, it'll be perfect. I got a good spot for you.
So now here, that's what I mean about our past. And you went through some shit. I mean, at such a young age. It's just,
I think being abused by my stepfather and getting beat had a lot to do with it.
Because you said that too, because I was thinking about that when you were talking about the gang, and a lot of people can relate to that when they're going into the gangs or like to the MC, because, that's what they drive to you. We're your family now. We're your family. And some people are like, man, that ain't your family. But when you come from being, abused, I had someone say one time, well, that's your family, though. That's your blood. That don't mean shit.
No.
I mean, I had a person tell me one time, King Handsome, God bless you, man. He's like, that don't mean shit. Being blood doesn't mean anything. He goes, that just means you're a relative.
Yeah.
And he goes, family is deeper than that. And I was just like, whoa.
Family is people who really understand you. Will do anything to keep you on the right track. Yeah. And will tell you when you're messing up or anything like that. Of all places,
prison. Pookie.
Yeah.
He wasn't your blood. And here's this dude, for you doing the right thing, which is probably in his book, you still think you're bulletproof that time where he snapped his fingers? Stuff like that.
It taught me a lesson. It taught me a valuable lesson.
Yeah, and he didn't have to do that. He wasn't, but he was family from that kind of point of view.
To show me, like, listen, you're not above that happening to you.
Especially when you said you said a few things about that. One, as soon as you said this, I knew something was coming. I started to get comfortable. When you get comfortable, you die. When you get comfortable, you get jumped.
Yeah.
And sure as shit, thank God for Pookie, man. When's the last time you talked to Pookie? Probably in there?
In there, yeah. So the last time I seen Pookie, a big melee happened, like a mini riot, and he ended up getting taken out in handcuffs.
But
Pookie, he had like a life sentence. I don't think he's out.
I don't think Pookie's watching this.
Right, he's probably watching this from a prison cell.
Well, hey, Pookie, you got the man here, man. If it wasn't for you, we might not be sitting here.
Yeah.
The people that come into our lives would be the ones that you least expect. But, I mean, the people with addiction and violence and all that sometimes get saved by, instead of the counselors and the upstanding citizens, and sometimes turn their backs, are the Pookies of the world who end up saving us, man. Dude, I tell you what, I mean, it was so great having you on here. Everyone knows who you are, anyways. But before we end this, man, please let everyone know where they can find you and follow you.
You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. It's Chatting with Staxx, and Staxx is spelled Staxx.
That's everything. Everything
Chatting
you
with
go to,
Staxx
Chatting with
show.
Staxx.
You know,
I'm telling you, man. Your stuff is blowing up all over the place.
Thank you.
But for those who may be new, you got to check it out. It is real. It's not bullshit. It's not sensationalized. It's not over the top. It's as real, as honest as it can get, or else you wouldn't be sitting here. And because with My Fight Our War, man, it's what you see is what you get. So I definitely appreciate you being here. And as we said before, this isn't a one and done. I mean, we're gonna be doing a ton of shit. Besides that, I'm on his show.
And make sure you check out Prison Politics with Larry Levine. I'm in the book. Bill Staxx.
That's the name, right? Prison Politics.
Prison Politics.
And not only that, the show that you wrote is called
Uber Mafia, and the movie is The Commission.
The Commission. Okay. Is that out already?
No.
That's right. Hell no, it's not out because I got to be in it.
And I acted in a couple movies. I played a hitman in Nadia's Request, and I'm in The Undesirables with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. So check it out.
The man, the myth, the legend, right here on My Fight Our War, the one and only Bill Staxx. Check him out, Chatting with Staxx. Appreciate you guys for being part of this, and look for more. Like I said, this is not a one and done with me and Staxx. So I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Remember, addiction's only a word, not a death sentence. And keep fighting the good fight. Follow us. Please go to YouTube and subscribe, follow, like, all that good stuff. Then shoot on over to TikTok. Follow us there. Really appreciate it. Till then, keep fighting the good fight.